In November 2015, the Young Friends of Turkey and Turkish Economic and Social Studies Foundation organized an event in the European Parliament to publish their annual study on what European legislators think about Turkey. The event kicked off with introductory speeches from the President of the Young Friends of Turkey, Mehmet Ünlü, and the Director of TESEV, Özge Aktaş Mazman. This was followed by Bodil Valero, a Swedish member of the European Parliament, Selim Yanel, the Turkish ambassador to the EU, and the newly appointed head of Turkey division at the European External Action Service, Javier Perez. The analysis of the report was presented by the leading project managers, Samuel Deveri Vesterbay and Zerrin Cengiz from the Young Friends of Turkey and TESEV.
Promoting dialogue and solutions, what the European legislators think about Turkey. I think we had a really successful event when it comes to contributions made by the speakers and also by the audience attending the event. Main phrases and main topics issued by the speakers were especially two phrases which were quite interesting, named by both the ambassador and European officials. We are Europe, we are family. This is exactly what Young Friends of Turkey also stands for. We stand for more mutual understanding. We stand for breaking down prejudice and stereotypes, and also bridging cultures.
As the accession process often relies on state actors, it's vital that the civil society organizations provide the necessary link between people of both regions and policymakers.
Beside this, as the European Union and the accession process especially often relies on state actors, it's important that civil society organizations, movements and reports and these kind of involvement and initiatives from the civil society are very important when it comes to strengthening the ties between Turkey and the European Union. Also, not just for the accession of Turkey to the European Union, but also the civil society dialogue has to be strengthened and followed up very precisely.
I think that the report that we have seen produced by you is actually something that is quite unique, because this time we have seen how the Parliament is gauging Turkey, how it looks at Turkey. Of course, the findings that we've seen in the report are not exactly what we expected, but that's, I think, something more positive in that respect. Turkey-EU relations have a long history, definitely. We just had the regular report come out recently. And funnily enough, in the last month, Turkey-EU relations have flourished all of a sudden. We're moving ahead. I know that the public opinion has not caught up with this yet, but the migration crisis is now bringing us back together. And we believe that this is a big opportunity to put the relationship back on track.
What I tried to convey during my short presentation was the message that following what's happening in Syria, following what's happening in the region, both sides have come to the realization that more than ever, that we have a large number of common problems and opportunities, that we both need each other, Turkey and the European Union, and that we should continue and deepen our current engagement. This will be done, as you all know, as everyone knows, on several fronts. We are now looking into the possibilities of backing Turkey's efforts to deal with the refugee crisis. We are looking into the state of play of the enlargement process, looking into the possibility of making progress on a few chapters. We are looking into the possibility of a closer cooperation on migration issues. And we are also looking into how to deepen our political engagement, whether this could be transforming Turkey's participation in the summit, a more reinforced political dialogue. That will have to be seen. What is crystal clear to everyone, as I said before, is that we need a deeper engagement. We need a continued poised cooperation and dialogue. And I am fairly positive that over the next few months, that progress will be consolidated, and we will see, as I said already, a deepening and consolidation of EU-Turkey relations.
I do believe that the EU and the member states for the last few months have shown and will continue to show that we are ready to step in, that this time we will be up to the challenge.
We are now being promised many things, maybe because of the migration crisis, but these are things that are actually needed for a candidate. So this is not something extra for us, and we know that there are certain things that we have to do. There are many conditions that we have to fulfill, It's not going to be an easy ride, and we don't want a free ride. We will do whatever is necessary for membership.
The research process started last year, around December actually. We started getting into touch with parliamentarians from the UK, Belgium, France, Germany, and simultaneously at the European Parliament.
So the report shows some very interesting key findings. One of them is that 81% of parliamentarians from national and European parties seem to agree with the accession of Turkey into the EU. Another very important key finding is the fact that these parliamentarians who favor the EU seem to prioritize three subjects. Number one, the fact that Turkey could play a key role, a key cultural role for the EU. Another factor is the fact that Turkey is a very important country in terms of economic growth. And a third factor is the fact that Turkey will play a bridging role for European neighborhood policy, so regional security, counter-terrorism, and also simply developing better foreign relations with countries on the borders of the EU.
Through our interviews, we tried to understand the existence of sociocultural prejudice and what they believe about the societies they represent, and also how they make up their minds about Turkey-related issues, considering their party affiliations and their personal sentiments, etc.
The study also finds that there is a 94% sociocultural discrimination rate. This is, of course, an extremely revealing finding because parliamentarians from countries like France, UK, Belgium, Germany, and the European Parliament as well all seem to suggest that there is a sociocultural discrimination in the rhetoric. Now, we look at this from a constructive and positive view, trying to understand how these things can be overcome. But the fact remains that 66% of the interviewed respondents did categorize the fact that Turkey is a Muslim country as being a sociocultural discriminatory problem.
That their parties have an anti-Turkey stance, and the 19% who opposed the process themselves, who said no to Turkey's EU membership, there is no direct correspondence. Among these parliamentarians who said that their parties are officially against Turkey's EU membership, there are actually parliamentarians who are personally in favor of Turkey becoming an EU member state.
In the report, we saw that most of the prejudices are based on religion or culture. This is no surprise for us, but we believe that if there are more contacts between Turkish citizens and European Union citizens, then this could be overcome in time. But also we need leadership. The leaders we have seen so far are following the popular movements. We've seen that there's a lot of reactions towards certain events in Europe. There's a backlash. I think that if things go better, if the economic situation in the EU goes better, there will be maybe a more serene atmosphere, but there's many things that we have to do as Turkey as well. If we can show that we are following the reforms and then things are happening in a more positive sense, more economic development, more political development, more interaction with our EU colleagues, more, let's say, dialogue, then this mood can change. But also the leaders are important in EU. The leadership that we've seen in the past have been negative. This leadership has to turn positive. We all have our duties to do, and I'm sure that we can overcome that as long as we are moving ahead with more dialogue.
I think we're at a key moment. Both Ambassador Yenal and also the head of the External Action Service Turkey Division, Perez, both mentioned the fact that there is a key moment for better development of EU-Turkey relations in terms of economic and also in terms of foreign policy initiatives which have to be overcome. I think the fact that we now have a stable post-election period and that Turkey and the EU can work together on counter-terrorism and on improving energy relations and foreign policy objectives is extremely important, as well as the fact that Cyprus is now coming back on the agenda, which will play a role as well in terms of the future of EU-Turkey relations.
But now we have a good opportunity, and also there are negotiations going on in Cyprus. They are going quite well. We hope that in the beginning of 2016 there could be a solution in which we have a united Cyprus. We are all for it. So 2016 could be extremely promising in our relationship.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.